It's Wednesday, my dudes. Welcome back to Sam Booze. Hi angels, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, hello, welcome. I'm Liv. What is up? How's it going? Hope you're well. Today we have a brand new episode of Sam Booze. The show where basically you send me your ghost stories. I judge them real good. Let's get right into it. Okay, this is some girl called Jess. Let's go. Story 1. I love when there's more than one story. I feel like that really adds to the spookiness of the setting, do you know what I mean? Me and my brothers are adamant that our family house is haunted. Starting from a young age, we all had a thing about the computer room. We had a computer room as well. Funny. The tiny box room in our house, we just shoved everything in at the time, so no one slept in there. I feel this. When my brothers were about 3 and 5-ish, the oldest of the two decided he wanted his own room, so Mum and Dad made his bed in the computer room. Cute. They woke up in the morning and he was back in our younger brother's bed. He hated it in the spare room, and I don't recall him sleeping there ever again. Fast forward a few years later, we never spoke about why, but we all had our reasons to believe that the computer room was haunted. My bedroom was directly next to the computer room, and my TV was on the wall conjoining the two rooms. Every night, at exactly 3 AM, if you don't know about 3 AM, it's like, I think it's called the devil's hour, the witch's hour, one of the two. My TV would make a loud popping noise. The lights on the TV would flash. It would make a whining sound unless I turned off the plug. Obviously, this used to absolutely scare me to death. One night, around 13 years old I got up to use the toilet after this had happened, and whilst I'm peeing, I literally hear the floorboards along the landing outside the toilet door creak as if someone walked along them and stood right outside the bathroom door. I've lived in this house my whole life. I know exactly what it sounds like to walk on the landing. That was the noise. You know your parents' footsteps as well. Like, you know if someone's coming up the stairs, who it is. I do anyway. No one was out of bed, and their doors all make sound, and the only door that was open was the computer room door. Safe to say, I sat in that bathroom practically shaking until I plucked up enough courage to run back to bed. Since then, I've moved out, and my youngest brother has moved to the freshly decorated computer room. I did that because she's done that as well. Or they did that. And I don't believe anything more has happened, but to this day, I'm still scared of the dark. I wonder why. Jess? What could possibly be the reason? What was the reason? Okay, story 2. When I was about 18, I went on a family holiday to Anglesey. If I'm butchering that, I do apologise. Well, we stayed in this repurposed windmill. Cute! But only a few days into our stay, the boiler went completely bust, and the property owners had no choice but to move us on to one of their other family homes that was free. A massive 7-bed, 5-bath, traditional family home in the countryside. Sounded idyllic, sounds bloody amazing. So we were all super excited to go and stay there for the remaining few days of our stay. This place was in the middle of nowhere and it was rather big. The minute someone says to you, it's this massive house in the middle of nowhere, you just think, that is class A haunted territory. Am I wrong? No. After arriving, it became pretty adamant that there were 2 parts to this house. A grand homeowner side at the front, and the back was what appeared to be servants' quarters. Soon after deciding which rooms we would all sleep in, me and my parents in the front of the house in the large rooms, the bay windows and ensuites, and my brothers in the more modest rooms to the back. Basically, you got the better deal there, Jess. I say how it is. So we decided to play hide and seek, which was a bit of a traditional holiday. This is adorable. I ended up giving up hiding on the final game, as the others couldn't find me anywhere. I slid down the side of a large cabinet stood alone on the huge landing, and I couldn't help but think, why did I feel so scared? Every time the upstairs went quiet as the rest went searching in another part of the house, I had this overwhelming feeling that there was something to be afraid of. The day passes by, and my mum is making tea in the kitchen, and she sees one of us pass the open doorway and walk towards the games room in the servants' quarters. So she pokes her head around the door, and no one is there. She goes, "Wind, please, I know you're trying to set the scene, but come on." She goes back into the kitchen and there is the rest of us playing games at the dining table. She didn't say a thing. That evening, I'm sat in one of the 2 living rooms, all fancy, with my mum watching a film and my dad and brothers are in the games room. My mum decides to tell me she's going for a bath, and I thought, my God, she's brave. Absolutely, I'd be terrified. So I go to chill with the rest of them because there's no way I'm sitting in that lounge on my own. Each of us sort of take turns going to check on mum in the bath, although no one says why we have this feeling to keep doing this. I just knew I didn't feel safe knowing she was alone upstairs. This place was haunted. I, of course, slept with my lamp on all night in this room the size of the whole upstairs of the family home, in a king-size bed with tall ceilings, and I've never felt so tiny, scared and alone. It does sound like not as fun now. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like, before I was like, oh my God, it's grand and beautiful. Now I'm like, absolutely not. There was an old iron table and chairs by the window, and every time I woke up I felt like someone was sitting at them. The rest of the holiday goes by, and I remember not spending much more time in the house. We instead went out for tea or to the beach, etc. No one spoke about the happenings in the house until we drove away on our final day. As my dad locked the door for the last time, he said every hair on his body stood on end, had this overwhelming impulse to go back inside, as though he was locking someone in there. We were all in the car. When the house was out of sight, he revealed this to us, and we almost all let out a sigh of relief as we shared our ghost stories from the last few days, which we'd all kept for each other, just not to ruin the holiday for others. If this was my family, my sister would be like, "This place is haunted, I want to go home." My dad would be like, "No, it's fine," because my dad's like the type of person who's does not complain about anything. Like, he's happy anywhere, doing anything. My mum would be like, I don't know if my mum like believes in ghosts. I have to ask her. I have to ask her because I'm intrigued now. She believes in ghosts. No, I'll ring her later. I've trawled the internet for any more stories about this place, but there's nothing. All I know is I would never go there again. And she's written a little note for me. Just wanted to say, I absolutely love your episode and comment from what every time. Definitely some of my favourite content. Love a good ghost story. I adore you, Liv, and nothing you do for the community. Keep being you, because it's amazing, Jess. Thank you, Jess, you're so lovely, thank you. Thanks for your ghost story as well, it was so good. Love it. Okay. Another one with 2 stories. Shelley, come through. Okay. This is the first of her 2 stories. The first. I thought I'd just repeat myself. I was on a night out in a bar and went to the toilet and it was empty. When I was in the cubicle, I heard the door open and someone walking in heels. Then a cubicle door closing and locking. I came out and to realise all the doors were open. I was still in the toilet on my own. I tried not to think much of it, but it happened again in the same bar a month or so later in the same scenario. The people I was out with thought I was crazy, but I mentioned it to my friend the other day, and they also had the same thing happen to them. Okay, either you've been drinking a lot of stuff, which is fine, you do you, boo, or you've got yourself a ghost bar. It's a ghost bar. Not a ghost horse this time. Ghost bar. Ghost bar! Spooky stuff happens at the ghost bar. Come and get your drinks at the ghost bar. What would it be called, the ghost bar? James, come here. I'm filming. Okay. So if you were going to a bar and it was haunted, what would you call it? Or what would you call a ghost bar? I don't know, like a funny pun, but I can't think of one.
Send booze.
Oh, send booze. Honestly, he does his stuff. He does his stuff. Okay, the second. I'm a nanny. I was in the living room with all 3 kids. I can barely handle one. I don't even have one. Am I saying that? I can barely handle one. Don't even have one. And I heard footsteps outside the room, and in the corner of my eye saw what I thought was the dad poke his head round the door and leave again. Didn't think much of it. Thought he'd be back in a minute. Around 10 minutes passed, I heard the key in the lock and the front door open and the dad shut. Hello. The house has always freaked me out, especially when babysitting and working till late. So who do you see? Who do you do? Oh, no thank you. No thank you. Not today. No way. Let's go on. This is from Laura. The title says Ghost. You'll like this one, Liv, but it's a longie. Laura, I can't effing wait. Okay, so there are several stories in one here, but we think there are potentially 3 or more ghosts who have made appearances in my mum's house. It's a long one. It's a long one. Bear with, guys. My mum lives in a Georgian in an old house that is over 200 years old and widely known to be haunted. Does she still live there? If she does, brave woman. Mad respect, fam. I'm never doing that again in my life. I'm so embarrassed. Over the years we've all had our experiences. That really hurt. Ow. Trying to be cool. Not working. When my younger sister was only 6 or 7, she ran to our living room looking for my mum. She said something along the lines of, "Mum, quick, come quick. There's a soldier in our kitchen." My mum was obviously not sure what to make of this. I assumed maybe someone had walked in by accident. Sorry. So sorry. This isn't my house. How silly of me. Can you imagine? We lived on the 4th floor but had a fire escape out of the kitchen door. Oh, so it would not be unusual for someone to come in that way, but not impossible. Oh, sorry, it would be unusual, but not impossible. And the fire escape was used to lead down to our garden. It's still a bit weird. You wouldn't just walk into someone's house, would you? Unless you didn't know, like, that's might be why. Yeah, I understand now. Anyway, my mum followed my sister back to the kitchen. When we got there was no one in the kitchen, and my sister then proceeded to look around for the soldier, which really freaked my mum out. A year or so later, my mum was cooking dinner when she felt something small hit her head. She'd heard it drop to the floor and she noticed it was a penny. She ignored it and then probably thought it must have fallen from the cupboard above. Lo and behold, it happened again. She turned around thinking it's probably my stepdad or one of the kids playing a prank, but there was no one there. Ooh, why a penny? Why don't waste your change? My stepdad has also recently went to use the loo, and when he opened the door he saw a shadow of a tall man shaving at the sink. But he just disappeared as soon as he got a proper look. Anyway, my mum decided to look into the history of the house, and get this, apparently it was used to house soldiers in the war. Nah. The next one freaked me out as a kid, and I had trouble sleeping until I moved out 4 years ago. Alrighty, here we go. My previous stepfather apparently saw a little girl in a white nightdress. Absolutely not. If you know me, and you've watched Tabboos before, you'll know we don't do little girl ghosts or clowns here. It's not cool. We don't enjoy that. Not today, thank you. He'd been only half awake, thought it was my younger sister because she looked a similar age and stature. However, when he looked at her properly, he said she had a completely different face, then disappeared into the darkness. It's a no from me. It's a no from me as well, Laura. I remember when my sister and I were off school once, we heard the bathroom light being turned on and off multiple times. The first time we heard it, we wrote it off as perhaps mishearing it, but neither of us said anything. However, it happened another more times. It's one of those old-fashioned pull cord lights. I remember them. Good times, man, good times. The ones that make a loud click as soon as you put it down, so quite unmistakable. We were also the only ones in the house. When I went to check, there's no one there. This is the last one. Bless you for I got this, Laura, thank you. My bedroom was an attic room. I mean, why do people do this? Why do people sleep in attics and basements? Like, they're just, like, that's for the ghosts. That's where the ghosts live. Come on. I'd always felt a presence in there, but not necessarily a bad one. I felt it was female, but I never told anyone about it because I'd never actually seen anything. It was just a close feeling that the air was thicker sometimes. There was an alcove. James! I bet he's so sick of me. Me again. What's an alcove?
Goes in.
Gets out.
like a little cubby hole.
Okay, that's better. So that goes in. Behind my wardrobe, which left a gap between the wardrobe and the wall. And ever since I was little, I had the feeling that someone was watching from behind there. I never said anything because just like I said, it was just a feeling. And this is where it gets a bit weird. Before that was fine, Laura. Before that was fine. I met with a spiritual medium and she told me I had a spirit attached to me of a young woman. She confirmed everything I had thought without any prompts, and was able to just describe my bedroom and the alcove, having never seen or been in my bedroom before. The medium said the woman was a housemaid / servant many years ago, and her bed was next to an alcove where the chimney used to be, and where now stands a cupboard, with a wardrobe. The medium asked if I would like her to help the spirit be able to move on, which obviously I said yes. I've never had that feeling again since the way I've been back to my mum since. My mum doesn't exactly like the idea of spirits living in our house, but she said to me the fact that she lived there for over 10 years and nothing bad has happened means there can't be bad spirits, just cheeky. Absolutely, Laura, that's so true. The fact that your mum lived there for 10 years and, you know, nothing scary or traumatic or terrible has happened means that obviously just like chilling out. Wind, please, my dear, please. I'm trying to tell stories here, please. So rude. And I think we'll leave it there for today. Really hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Make sure you check out the rest of Send Booze. It is in the playlist called Send Booze. The top I'm wearing is my brand Pidge. Have I not mentioned that before, Pidge? So if you want to buy your own stuff from my brand, I'm really happy how the results, how the stuff came out. I love the stuff. I love wearing it. I feel so proud to wear it. I've seen you guys wear it. It's www.pidge.shop. Check it out. Make sure you leave a like. Oh my god. Make sure you leave a like, comment down below, ding a little bell and subscribe. And I'll see you very soon, my angels. Lots of love. Take care. Stay spooky.